Hey there, Mr. Reddit here. Welcome back to another episode of r/Entitled Parent Stories. Our first story we'll be reading today. My entitled parents follow me onto a flight and demand to speak to the manager. After that, little brat ruins entire Sonic movie entitled Dad Thinks It's Okay. And after that, I ignore customers because the boss said so. Now for every thumbs up this video gets, one Karen loses her Bed Bath & Beyond rewards card. So please smash that like button, and if you're new, subscribe and turn on notifications for new stories from Reddit every single day. My entitled parents follow me onto a flight and demand to speak to the manager. Backstory: this happened a few years ago. My parents are the epitome of what makes an entitled parent, and I've got plenty of stories about their antics. To sum it up quickly, I had decided at 18 years old to run away from them and live overseas, where I am today and quite happy. This was the biggest decision of my life, and I was nervous as heck. They had done terrible stuff since my childhood, and I needed to get away for my own safety and well-being. I planned the flight about 2 weeks before the date, and my parents the whole time didn't think I'd go through with it. To be fair, they only thought I was going on vacation for a short bit. Come the day, and after me calling an Uber to take me to the airport, they caved to save face and took me themselves. I checked in and did all that good stuff before I had to go through security. I waved them off and began to walk forward until the following goes down. We've got security, we've got entitled mom and entitled dad. Security: excuse me, where's your boarding pass? I only see one here. He points at my boarding pass. Entitled mom: oh, don't worry, we're just going to take our daughter to the gate. Security: no. I'm afraid you can't go past this post without a boarding pass. What? But she's our daughter. You can't tell me what I can and can't do with my own daughter. Security guy sighs and looks at me flustered up and down. I have a baby face and have always looked much younger than I really am. Security: all right, how old is she? Well, she's... Me: I'm 18, sir. Entitled mom glares at me. Shh. Well, she is an adult and does not require accompaniment from her parents. I'm afraid I'm going to have to ask you to leave. Entitled mom: but she does. She's not mentally 18. She's mentally regressed and has issues. Me, shocked and embarrassed. I had depression brought on by diagnosed PTSD. Those were my issues. Yet she worded it to make it sound like I was intellectually disabled. What? Entitled dad: she's mentally a child. She still likes Chinese cartoons, referring to anime and manga. Security: I don't see how that applies here. She seems capable enough. Do you feel you can go through on your own? Me: yes, I'm okay. Entitled mom: ugh, liar. She begins stomping her foot in frustration like a toddler. Just let me through right now with my daughter. Entitled dad: yeah, and me. Security sighs, calling another security officer over. Officer 2: what seems to be the problem? Entitled mom cutting them both off. This jerk won't let me go through the gate with my daughter, who is mentally disabled. Security 2: the real story, please. Security explains the deal, and entitled parents are fuming. They can tell by the looks on their faces they're not gonna get their way. Finally, entitled mom yells out the famously awaited Karen line. I know my rights. I demand to speak to your manager. So another person comes over, and the three of them are talking quietly together. Me: mom, dad, this is going too far. I'm gonna miss my flight if this keeps going. Entitled dad: and whose fault is that? You should have booked a later flight. Me: my flight is at 11 at night. Not my problem. If you miss your flight, that's on you. Finally, they stop talking and approach us. Supervisor: hi, I think we can make a compromise. I'm not supposed to do this, but I'll allow one of you through with her to have a meal or just sit with her for a bit. I could really get in trouble doing this, but I know how far she's going, and I know it'll be hard. Entitled mom reads her title name on her name tag. I asked for a manager. Manager! Entitled dad: this is pathetic. Your proposal is also pathetic. How are you going to break up a nice family like that? Me: I really will be fine. I'll catch up with you next time, okay? Supervisor: I understand where you are coming from, but OP seems to be more than capable and is an adult. I am breaking the rules by letting even one of you go through without a ticket, but it is my offer. Entitled Mom.
No, no, no! This is ridiculous!
By now, Entitled Mom is stamping around and waving her arms around. She gets up close to the two security who kinda eye her, and she immediately backs away, but doesn't stop stamping. Security. Ma'am, I'm afraid if you don't stop, I'm going to have to escort all of you away. Me, realizing he means me too. I quietly mutter an, "Oh crap," under my breath and begin to panic a bit. Entitled Mom.
Fine, we'll just take our daughter home then.
She takes my arm, but I quickly pull away. Me. Stop! Entitled Dad.
How dare you! Apologize to your mother.
Supervisor looks at me. Would you like a parent to go with you? Me. No, not really. Entitled Parents.
What?
Supervisor. Okay, please come along then.
No! I demand you let us on her flight with all the problems you've caused.
Entitled Dad.
Yeah, and make it first class,
or any upgrades. Entitled Mom.
You didn't get the manager. You got a supervisor. You lied to me. Manager! Manager!
Supervisor, ignoring, turns to me. May I double check your ticket? Me. Yeah, of course. I show her my ticket. Supervisor. Perfect. One boarding pass for one person. Step this way and enjoy your flight. Me. Thank you. Entitled Mom grabs my arm.
No! Okay, one of us will go through. OP, you like Wendy's, right? Let's get Wendy's through there.
Me removes my arm. No thank you. I grab my suitcase and walk through security. Entitled Parents try to follow and are immediately stopped. Entitled Dad.
This is not the service we pay for. We should be allowed a ticket on the flight for this.
Entitled Mom.
Wendy's, OP! Wendy's! Come on, Wendy's! Wendy's!
I don't look back and am now further away. I can no longer hear them over the line of people I'm in. I got to my flight just fine and arrived in one piece. I cut contact with both of them. Legend has it, Entitled Mom is still screaming,
Wendy's!
to this day. Little brat ruins entire Sonic movie. Entitled Dad thinks it's okay. Cast. We've got Entitled Dad, we've got his 4-year-old kid, we've got my friends, and me. This happened a few weeks ago, just after the Sonic movie hit the cinemas. I went with 2 of my friends because we all had a Nintendo-filled childhood and couldn't miss the context of the subsequent memes on Reddit. It is important to note that I live in the Netherlands, so that means most movies come in 2 versions, the original version in English and the dubbed version in Dutch. We went to the English version to get the best immersion. We go to a screening around 2 o'clock and the venue is about 60% filled. We go sit down in our seats with some popcorn and some soda when the approximately 3 hours of ads starts rolling. Joke, please laugh. We're sitting in the dead center of the seats and I'm sitting in the most left seat out of the 3 of us. The 3 seats left of me are empty. Here comes the kid and the Entitled Dad. Kid is sitting diagonally behind me, left of me, and Entitled Dad 1 seat on his left. As I said, the movie we're watching is in English and this kid obviously doesn't understand a word of it and can't read the subtitles, so there's a constant barrage of, "What are they saying? Why are they," the moviegoers, "laughing about a joke? What's happening? Why are they doing that?" Mixed in with the classic 4-year-old comments like, "That's not allowed. Oh no, he stole," as if it's Dora the Explorer. "He's a crook. Run, Sonic, you can do it." That's fun and cute and all for a few minutes, but at max volume, so the entire venue can enjoy along and continuously throughout the screening, it's getting annoying really quick. Movie tickets and snacks aren't cheap, you know, so when you finally decide to reward yourself by going to the movies, the last thing you want are Vietnam flashbacks to your kindergarten times. After 15 minutes or so, someone, who is about 16, approached Entitled Dad in a kind manner and all seemed to be going well. But, oh no, 2 minutes later and everything continues like before. I'm fairly non-confrontational, but my frustration started to build and build throughout the screening until about 40 minutes in I snapped, in the most modest sense of the word, and said in a fairly loud voice to both the kid and Entitled Dad simultaneously, "For the love of God, can you please stop commenting on everything that happens in the movie? We all paid for the tickets and we all would like to enjoy it in peace." My friends broke out in laughter, and I could hear some laughter from the rest of the venue because the kid was loud enough to annoy the entire venue, but I was fuming. But that became a lot worse when entitled dad just said to his kid, "Don't listen. You can do whatever you want." In hindsight, I would like to have said something right then and there, but sadly I didn't. The continuous remarks kept on coming until he finally had to go to the bathroom. Finally, 5 minutes of quiet, the best part of the movie. But when they came back, entitled dad seated himself and his kid straight behind me. Now, not only had I to endure these comments on double the volume, but I also had a kid kicking and rocking my seat on a near constant basis. He even started getting bored at the end and climbed on his and another seat and whined for his dad's phone at near the end. It was a nightmare. I was planning to say something to entitled dad and the kid after the movie, but they left with the speed of light as soon as the credits started rolling. I'm sorry this didn't have a satisfying ending. The entitled dad and kid didn't get banned for life. They were owned and speechless after my remark, and they continued as if nothing had happened. But hey, it's something, I guess. This may not seem like a big story, but it was really frustrating at the time and thought I'd just share. I still enjoyed the movie itself though, apart from the kid and entitled dad obviously. Did you see the Sonic movie? And if so, did you like it? I still haven't seen it, but maybe you can help me decide if I should. I ignore customers because the boss said so. After graduating college, I worked for about 6 months as a cashier at a local branch of a chain sandwich shop. Mostly, it was a great job. Customers were mostly polite. My coworkers were friendly and helpful, and I genuinely believed in the company's products. Even my bosses were pretty great, except for one. We'll call him the jerk. The jerk was belligerent, vindictive, nitpicky, and pretty much an awful boss in every way a boss can be awful. He had the type of crappy, no excuses policy that defined excuse as literally anything besides, "Yes, sir, of course, sir." I could go on and on about all the different ways he was terrible, but this story is about one specific flavor of his awfulness. During our shifts, each employee had a certain section of the store they were assigned to keep clean in addition to their duties. The cashier section was the front counters and displays and the coffee kiosk. I don't know if it was officially the manager's job, but as long as I worked there, whoever was the shift manager always took care of the outside patio area, except for the jerk. At first, he would just say things to me like, "I'm really busy right now. Could you clean the patio?" Which was fine. Part of the job description stated that if you had free time and the manager asked you to do something extra, you did it. He was well within his rights. But one day, he suddenly started asking me why I was shirking my duties by not keeping the patio clean. After all, the patio was part of my section. It wasn't and never had been. I asked the other cashiers, and they all agreed they had never been told anything about the patio being part of the cashier section. I didn't mind helping out with the patio if my other cashier duties were done, but it irked me that he had taken something extra I was doing to be helpful and turned it into something that I was neglecting my duties if I didn't do. It felt like a bait and switch, and I felt cheated. The bigger problem, though, was that keeping the patio clean through my entire shift was a huge pain for me as a cashier. In the afternoons, I was often the only one at the counter, and customers would trickle in with a few minutes between each group. This meant that I was constantly having to run back and forth between the patio and the register, which confused customers and made it hard to get any actual work done on the patio. One day, when this was particularly bad, the jerk came up front and started asking me why I hadn't cleaned the patio. I started to explain that I kept having to come back inside to serve customers, but he cut me off. I don't remember his exact words, but it was something along the lines of, "That's no excuse. Cleaning the patio is part of your job. Now go outside and do your job. Don't come back inside until the patio is clean." That last sentence was music to my ears. I assured him that of course I would do exactly as he said, went outside and started cleaning. A few minutes later, a family walked past me through the front doors into the store. Through the large front window, I watched them stand, confused in front of the register. There was no one at it to serve them. The jerk had gone back into his office to attend his oh-so-important manager duties. I continued to clean the patio. A few minutes later, another family came in and joined the first, standing confused and now annoyed in front of the counter. At this point, the jerk must have noticed them on the security camera because he came out of his office and started ringing them up. Then came another set of customers, and another. The jerk was at the register, so he had to serve them. He was now being forced to cover my job because I was too busy doing his. I finished cleaning the patio and came inside, and the jerk immediately tore into me, asking where I had been. Why wasn't I at the counter? Couldn't I see there were customers? I put on my most innocent smile. But you told me not to come back inside until I'd finished cleaning the patio. I assumed that meant you would take care of serving customers, since I couldn't possibly be two places at the same time. He just glared at me for the longest moment, then mumbled something about how I should have known what he meant and I was never to pull a stunt like that again, and shuffled back to his office. Not much of a victory in the grand scheme of things, but seeing the momentary flash of panic in his eyes as he realized his "do as I say, no excuses" policy had backfired had me giddy for the rest of the day. The frustrated wife. Another story from the petrol station. So we had a guy come in and fill up his fuel. He came inside and realized he had left his card at home, a good 30-minute drive away. I tell him that it's fine, as long as he can get back before the end of my shift. I won't have to report it as a drive-off. He thanks me, leaves his details, and leaves. All around a decent guy. Cut forward 20 minutes or so, and the store gets a call. Me. Hello? Wife. Hi, my husband was just there and left his card at home. Me. Oh yeah, that's okay. I said as long as he could get back.
No, it's not convenient for us tonight.
Me. Oh, well, I'm afraid that...
No, you don't understand. It's inconvenient for him to drive all the way back tonight. We have kids and we have plans with them tonight. Important plans, so he can just pay it off later.
Me. Well, I'm sorry, but if he cannot return by the end of my shift, I will have to write it up and inform police about it.
That's a ridiculous overreaction. I'll just pay over the phone by reading out my card number.
Me. I'm sorry, but we cannot accept payment over the phone for legal reasons. It's store policy.
You're making that up. It's inconvenient, and my husband won't be returning tonight. Now, let me pay over the phone.
Sorry, but the system won't let me, even if I...
Get me your manager.
Me. I'm the only one on tonight, but I'm happy to give you the number for head office.
And they can let me pay over the phone to them?
Me. No, absolutely not. But if you wish to complain, you can explain to them. She hangs up. About 10 minutes later, I get a call from head office. Me. Hello? Head office. Hi, this is head office calling in regards to a call we just got from a customer. She claimed you told her that she could pay for her husband's petrol over the phone. You realize this is against company policy. Me. No, sorry, but I absolutely told her that she couldn't pay over the phone. She wouldn't listen to me. Head office. Ah, I suspected as such. She was being difficult. Me. Yeah. Head office. Well, that makes me feel better about what I said. I told her she was lucky you let her husband leave at all. You should have insisted he leave his car there while he got a cab home and back. I also told her that if they weren't back to pay in 40 minutes, the police would be called immediately and they would have a criminal record. Me. How did she take that? Head office. She was suddenly very cooperative. 20 minutes later, the husband returns and pays for the fuel. I tell him thanks and to apologize to the wife for not being able to pay over the phone. He's confused by this. I explained what happened. He had no idea. He texted her saying he would be back late as he was going to pick up his card. She called us and complained without letting him know. He was not pleased, just shook his head and left apologizing. Customer. I'm so sorry. She does this all the time. You don't get paid enough to deal with that. Entitled kid chops down my tree, costs her 500,000 pounds, 700,000 US dollars. Background information. We live in an old and big manor that has been split into 3 attached houses. The houses are about 150 years old and were built around 5 huge giant sequoias, which were about 250 years old. In the UK, giant sequoias are very rare, and the 2 in our garden upped the house price by about 60,000 pounds. We lived next to 2 really nice neighbors, one young couple and one old couple. The story. Unfortunately, our old neighbors passed, so their kid and her family moved in. Let's call her Jo. Jo was instantly a pain in the butt. We had been sharing chickens with the previous neighbors, and Jo agreed to keep sharing them. However, on her nights, she would constantly forget to put them away, so we would have to check them every night anyway. One night, her little brats thought it would be funny to open our personal duck pen in the night. About 2 years ago, there was a storm, and one of her sequoias somehow fell over and died. They were distraught, understandably, but from then on, the jealousy started. She would constantly complain about how lucky we were to have 2 sequoias in our garden and how our sequoia was making too much shade in their garden. It wasn't. Anyway, we just thought it was Joe being a pain. There were a few dry threats, like they would chop it down or maybe the next storm would blow it down. Until we came back from a holiday to France to find our huge 6-meter stump and nothing else. I mean, how the heck do you get rid of a 100-foot tree in like 2 weeks? 2 of our old British oak trees had been crushed as well. My mom and sisters were crying, my dad was red in the face, and we had no evidence Joe had done it. She claimed that there had been a storm and she had to get rid of it. We had a security camera at the front of the house, but you can get in the back if you go through a few fields. We then were given an 8,000-pound bill for damages to her property and to have the tree chopped up and removed. The wood alone would have been worth a small fortune. We had lost all hope, and 2 weeks had passed when my dad came running in from the garden. We had put up a wildlife camera a few months ago and had caught everything. We got a lawyer on the phone and started our revenge. We got a tree surgeon out who said it was an original specimen brought into the UK in 1860, along with the 2 that were in Elveston Castle Country Park. There were 218 around the UK, but only 60 now. He also told us to call out an engineer because the roots might be in the foundation, so when they rot, it could damage the house. Turns out we would need to redo the foundations. Then we took Joe to court and sued them for damage to property, trespassing, and emotional damage. The tree would cost $250,000 to have another sequoia that was 250 years old put in and looked after. It's basically impossible. Plus the damage to the foundation, which was $200,000, and the 2 oaks, which were another $25,000. So with the emotional, it went to about 500,000 pounds or $700,000 US. They had to move out. And we have now paid off the mortgage, done a lovely loft and kitchen conversion, and have basically done up the house and garden as well as plant a 60-year-old sequoia tree in the back garden. We also had our kitchen counter and table made from the old sequoia. We now have a new lovely family living next to us who we share chickens, ducks, and pygmy goats with. They're very nice, and I make a fortune babysitting their kids. Telco wants to cut me off due to my ex-husband's bankruptcy. Well, I now have a free iPhone 11 Pro. My ex and I went bankrupt due to him not paying bills and his company going under. Joint names, unfortunately, as I was working and he needed my name to buy the business. It sucks, but that's a whole nother story. I have always paid my bills for every utility, so when all this went down in January this year, all other contracts, including a salary-sacrificed car, just continued on. In December, I smashed my phone screen. The repair cost was about $800, so I used my insurance that I had been paying as part of my phone plan to replace it with a brand new iPhone 11 Pro. $50 per month for the service and $75 per month for the phone. I got a call in early March from the Telco insolvency team telling me I can't have a contract with them due to bankruptcy. They said they want to change my phone to a prepaid account. They also said I cannot have a home internet and landline account with them anymore, which freaked me out. No Wi-Fi and kids at home. I checked it out with a bankruptcy trustee and they said legally it's not a problem, but if the company policy states as such, they can do it. I also spoke with the telecommunications ombudsman and they told me I could fight it if I wanted to, as I am still under contract. I had a big argument with the telco on the phone again, trying to explain that my bills were always paid early and that it is in their best interest to let me continue to pay out the contracts as their fees were on top of the purchase of the phone and modem. No go. She did not want to hear a bar of it. I shopped around and found a new internet provider and landline, needed for homeschooling at the moment, and then let the telco swap me off my plan to prepaid. I then ported my prepaid phone number over to a new internet company. I have had the same number since my first phone and didn't want to change it. Then, the telco sent me a bill to pay out the iPhone and the modem. Final bill was $2,300, which I promptly replied with the bankruptcy number and trustee details and included the passage from legislation that says they cannot contact me about it again. The best part is my new company uses the old company's satellites, so my coverage is still excellent, but also uses another company's as well, so it's now actually better. Stupid telco that is the biggest in the country, they are too dumb to just let me pay what I owe as agreed. And shoutouts to our regenerals of the day: Funtime Avi, Adrian, Aether, and Mega Karen. Become tomorrow's regenerals by leaving as many reads as you can in the comments below, and please listen to my playlist every night when you go to sleep.